the champ have a lot of surprise for his city and for the future. He want to rest now for 1 or 2 months. Then we will tell you the surprise.
For sure.
Thank you.
There's a rumor on the internet that Crawford versus Canelo 2 is underway for Cinco De Mayo 2026.
I need y'all to get the likes up, man. Get the likes up.
And it's been about a little over a month now since the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Bud Crawford, with Terence Bud Crawford being the victor. But moving forward, last time we heard Terence Crawford, Turki Al-Sheikh came out and said in about a month or two that they're going to have a special announcement. What could this announcement be? Well, we know he's not fighting guys like Janibek, right? He's not fighting Janibek. Janibek is going to be facing Erislandy Lara, and it seemed like things is materializing at 160 pounds. At 168 pounds, well, Terence Bud Crawford holds all the titles. You got Hamzat Siraz. You got a few guys, Christian Beasley, Lester Martinez, right? He got Lester Martinez in the weight class. Caleb Plant, Jamal Charlo, right? It's not too many guys at 168 pounds, if I'm honest, that may be interesting to Terence Crawford. Rumor is that Canelo Alvarez will be getting a rematch. Now, I'm not sure how true this is or if it's even true at all. But the question is, do fans want to see that? Do fans want to see Crawford versus Canelo 2? Yeah, that's right. Crawford versus Canelo 2. Do fans want to see that? I don't think they do. Now, Canelo do deserve a rematch, right? If he wants one, he should be entitled to one. But based off that performance, based off of just how that fight went, and based off the energy from the boxing fans, I don't think a rematch is warranted. Not to mention, Canelo Alvarez humbly accepted defeat. It wasn't no resistance in the decision, right? He seemed to be content with the decision. That Terence Bud Crawford went out there and pretty much shut him out, right? Now, is this worthy of a rematch? Because Canelo Alvarez do have a couple of fights left dealing with Turk Al-Sheikh, and Turk also seemed to not have wanted Terence Bud Crawford to retire, right? He wants to have a couple of more fights with Terence Bud Crawford because that's his favorite fighter, right? But do fans want to see a Crawford versus Canelo too? I'm not sure if you guys really want to see that. I don't know. I wouldn't mind it, but I'm not sure if it'll be quite as big as the first fight. Sometimes the second fight is bigger than the first one because of the anticipation. If the first fight ended in some type of controversy, then the rematch would be even bigger usually, right? But in this case, I'm not quite sure if the rematch would be bigger because of how lopsided the first fight was, how dominant Terence Bud Crawford was. Now they can frame it and sell it a certain way to maybe get the Canelo fans, the Mexican fans back interested. Yeah, we go get him this time. And, Canelo Alvarez had an injury and, and all this other stuff. They may throw that in there, right, to kind of soften the initial blow. Say, well, Canelo wasn't healthy. Canelo was injured. Canelo wasn't taking the fight seriously. Canelo was partying and all that. Now he's serious this time around. Now, I mentioned something like this before, that this is what's going to happen, right? Something that I mentioned that was going to happen prior to the fight happening was that Crawford's going to go up in there and wash him, which was what happened, and then we're going to see a rematch. We're likely going to see a rematch. And this is likely a scenario that's likely to happen. I don't see too many other lucrative options for Terence Bud Crawford if we're talking Terence Crawford. Fights that'll get Terence Bud Crawford motivated. Honestly, I'm not even sure a Canelo Alvarez rematch will get him motivated at this point. I'm not sure. Because of how easily he made it seem, right? Easily he made it. I mean, it could be an easy payday, another lucrative, easy payday for Terence Crawford. Because now I'm looking at it, okay, if Janibek and Lara's fighting, who is Carlos Adames fighting? Kristen McBleely, Lester Martinez got to settle their score. Who is there for Terence Crawford to really fight? Unless he go down to 154. There's really nobody that seems to be really that interesting, right? We can't just have Bud out here just fighting anybody now. You know what I'm saying? He's past all that stuff now. You know what I'm saying? He's here now. And I think the fights for Bud and his team, it has to kind of like mean something, I guess, right? It's got to be a fight that's really interesting. And I don't think too many matchups out there right now interest Terence Crawford. Canelo Alvarez was a challenge. It was a real challenge, right? On paper, it was supposed to be a real challenge. Him moving up in weight, him coming off that layoff, all the stuff that entailed that fight, that came with that fight. The 70,000 people, pro-Canelo fans, pro-Canelo crowd. He went out there and did his thing and made it look easy, right? So I'm not even sure. I don't know what the hell Terence Bud Crawford should do. To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure what he should do. I'm not quite sure if the Canelo fight will sell. I'm not sure if it'll have the same buzz that it did initially. It possibly could if they move it a certain way, but I don't know. I don't really think so. But I don't see too many other options out there for Terence Bud Crawford, to be honest, other than retirement. Unless he wants to fight a guy like John Boots Ennis, have John Boots Ennis move up and come see him or something like that. But, you know, John Boots Ennis, there's not really no other big name fighters out there. And I think Crawford's looking for the big fights, the big name fights. I think that's kind of what he's looking for. But right now, I don't think that's the case. You got guys like Errol Spence and Keith Thurman, but those guys they're at 154 pounds and they really haven't been moving, right? They've been dormant. You haven't really seen. Well, Keith Thurman, he's supposed to fight for Andorra, but that fight got scrapped. Honestly, about that situation, I honestly think it was more of a situation to where the tickets wasn't really selling for that fight. I'm not quite sure if I believe the whole hand injury thing, but it could be true. It could not be, but I'm leaning more towards the fact that the fight just wasn't selling like that and they had to kind of postpone it to move things around a little bit. But other than that, I don't see any other viable options for Terence Crawford. Do you guys want to see Crawford and Canelo mix it up once again? I don't think Canelo Alvarez stands a chance. Stylistically, and I said that initially before we even knew what was going to happen, because I told you what was going to happen. And I think the rematch will be even more decisive than the first fight. So I'm not really too interested in this fight, but this is the rumor that's kind of circulating right now. And of course, we heard what Turki Al-Sheikh said, along with Terence Crawford, that he has a special announcement in 1 or 2 months. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be. Some fans may say, well, he could possibly be leaning towards retirement. But Turki Al-Sheikh also said, man, look, man, please don't retire. Don't retire. So I think Crawford's going to do a favor for his boy Turki Al-Sheikh and give him one more fight at least. But who would that fight be? Tell me what you guys think. Do you want to see a potential rematch between Terence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez? Like, subscribe, holler at your boy. Peace out.